to learn
Great.
sustainability and AI. This is my
Learn,
crazy hobby, and
learn.
I really love to learn every day.
Nice, nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
He's very modest. Paresh ji is very modest. He is neither a student and nor sustainability stuff. By the way, he's working in our sector. He helps a lot of people with EcoVadis. So anybody who needs help there, uh, please meet him, get help from him, and he can get you certified. We work with him on those kind of projects. We are trying to work still, and hopefully in near term we will be doing. So welcome.
Thank you, Vivekji. Thank you.
Well, okay. So anyways, today we had a complete introduction session with all of us. So that is done. What we will do quickly, uh, we will go through the slides. We will not revise it. There is no point we revise it again. Um, what we will do, we will quickly look into it. So if somebody has lots somewhere, they will be getting along. If you have any questions, you can always ask. That will be allowed. And then what I will do is I will share the data set with you, a data set which we are going to use today. So anybody who has missed it can join in there. And this is the link which we will be using it. So go ahead and ask the rights because it's private data, so you have to ask the rights. Yes. Okay, good. So why don't we have that feedback as well? You can unmute yourself. Let's see who all have completed the homework. Let's see that first. Ravindran, if you can unmute yourself and just feed us back and how is the Reliance industry looks like, and did you read those 2 pages which was recommended yesterday?
Uh, yeah, Vivek, I gone through the first 2 pages. I was surprised to see there was 295 subsidiaries, and I was just scrolling down. I thought it was first 80 because generally we assume, okay, one entity can have 30, 40 subsidiaries, but I was keep scrolling down. It was not ending, and finally the number is 295. I
Wow.
was surprised to see how mega they manage so many subsidiaries. And when I gone through further pages, I couldn't find any information on their subsidiary emissions. But
I'm sorry, we lost.
they clear open and mentioned anything about yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes. No, you are right. They have not
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
about whether all the units are covered or not. Actually, where they have listed those units, next to it, they have mentioned this is not covered under GHG reporting, neither it is.
Yeah, so they mentioned yeah, sorry, they have mentioned beers are prepared loan standalone only for RIL
Correct.
standalone. So very clearly they have mentioned that,
Right.
and they never mentioned about anything about scope three, which is a very huge B2C consumption of their products and B2B consumption,
Right.
and they only mentioned about B2B. And the report is very classy, and very interesting to read. But how they are how they are doing for climate change is not true expression there.
Indeed, indeed. And that is why people who have done the homework on what is their current ESG rating, they will find Sustainalytics is putting them in high risk. And the reason is obvious that they are not covering all the units. They are not disclosing data for any of those 295 subsidiaries, where they have 100% approximately. Those are 260 subsidiaries under Reliance Industry Limited, and those are not covered. So that was one of the trickiest thing which a professional like us need to understand and include in our discussion with the stakeholders. So whenever we are advising them or we are helping them to achieve sustainability, we should be also careful about guiding them rightly. right? It is always a cost benefit analysis. And as I always promote, that sustainability should be an exercise profit center rather than an exercise of a cost center. Such kind of fruitful discussion with a stakeholder is very important, where they understand what will be the cost of not taking extra investment in their sustainability drive, which is near term as well as the long term. Sustainability is all about long termism thought process. And that's why in long term, everything works fine, right? Specifically in economics. So anybody who's worried about today's today investments, say for us, it is 10,000, 20,000. For Reliance Industry Limited, maybe billions of dollars. But that investment should be also looked with a lens of future benefits, which we are planning to have or which we think is possible for us. And that's the starting point of today's discussion. Let's start with same housekeeping. If you have question, you can always raise hand. We always take a small group, so you can always unmute yourself and ask questions too. Quizzes will be there. Use slido.com, where you can come and try to answer it. Slido.com is a place where I will give you a code and you can use that. Mostly today we will work on Excel sheets, so keep your laptop handy, because at that point in time, at least you can check your data set, which will be provided to you. It's already posted in the chat box. Let me post it once more for everyone. Please ask the rights, because it's not open. It is not an open link. It is a restricted link. So you have to ask for right, which I will allow before we starting the solving live. So today we will try to solve GHG accounting live. So that is why we are expecting you to join from laptop, right? Otherwise, if you can just shout out your answer in the chat box or by unmuting yourself, that is also fine. But learning increases if you do it your own self on the laptop. Of course, any technical issue, you can just come out of the presentation and go back, right? You can do that. And it works very fine. Now, first thing first, of course, I have already introduced myself, so I'm not going to waste my time. I'm a CFA charter holder, have 20 plus years of experience in investment banking, as well as bringing green investing to India. I'm a managing director and founder of ESGPro Mastery Institute, which is a part of investment banking firm called M&A Experts Advisory. Have been appreciated in different platforms, also been speaking on TEDx and Economic Times, video telecasts. Last 1 year, I have written 2 books on sustainability and trained more than 4,000 people and advised companies equivalently. Our alumni comes from completely different data set. They come from banks, they come from renewable energy companies, they come from real estate companies, even educational issues. Even in current batch, we have more than 5 doctorate who are currently getting benefited from our 8-day program. They are research fellows and they want to do further more research, and they have joined our program to get the idea for research and peer review. We have already covered in agenda day 1, we have covered importance of GHG protocol, fundamentals of carbon accounting, detailed understanding of how to create GHG inventory whenever you start this process, and how to do baselining, and eventually, if it's a regular exercise for your company, how to improvise it. Today, our task will be to calculate scope 1 and scope 2 emission, and then slowly we will move to even scope 3 emission. So these 3 we will cover today, and then straight we will go into that how you can upgrade yourself with different kind of certifications, and why even you should think about getting those certification and transition yourself into a career of being a GHG accountant. However, GHG accountancy is that motor skill which we require to start driving our car. Once you know how to drive the car, A, B, C, accelerator, clutch, and brake, all becomes your motor skill, right? You do not need to know where the escalator is, where the clutch, and where the brake is. Similarly, once you learn this skill, it becomes handy to do any exercise in sustainability, be it exploring areas like ESG transition, where India is doing massive work, renewable energy work, where ESG goals are being set, net zero initiative, decarbonization plan, everything is based on this calculations and understanding of GHG inventory creation. Learning in deep definitely help. Whoever have already joined, few of you have already joined yesterday, so thank you very much for that. And few of you who wants to join, they can stay with us till the end. We will again discuss the same if you have not listened in this 10. So why GHG protocol matters, and we have learned through different questions there, which we have covered in last session. I'm not going to cover once more. We also looked into climate change became an essential part of our working through these three triangular aspect of importance of GHG protocol, which comes from global standard, regulatory compliance, and competitive advantage. We also looked into that why there is a growing trend in ESG towards carbon accounting. And we learned that investor is demanding this data. Regulators are demanding this data under even in the BRSR principle number 6. And corporate commitment to net zero definitely requires that you have your accounting done and done properly. Because if you make a mistake, same like in financial report, if you make a mistake in carbon accounting, you need to present to the government with all retrospective reporting as well. And that becomes a blot on your corporate profile and as well as a professional who has enabled them to produce this report. That is why I suggest people to have a deep understanding of it, make it a skill by practicing it so that whenever you conduct such exercise, you do it correctly. And yesterday we discussed several nuances which generally people tend to ignore, including even seventh greenhouse gases. We also looked into the key milestone in this area, definition as per the GHG protocol, and what are those pillars which enables this definition. We looked into the key greenhouse gas emitters and their properties. We looked into the definition, key greenhouse gases, which are 7, and where they come from, what approaches we take into GHG accounting, and why this is making a lot of difference in world GHG emission, right? And we looked into the hotspot currently in the world where they are coming from, and we realized that fossil fuel is that particular culprit which we should be worried about. Now, we looked into the challenges that most of the people are not reporting it correctly, and there you have opportunity to change the landscape, being a professional who understand deeply, just not looking into the different emission factors and reporting, but also knowing how to use those emission factors and incorporate into your reporting so that your reports become authentic, transparent, and accountable, which you can take accountability with full-fledged understanding of the GHG protocol. Now, we use GHG protocol to learn how to create GHG inventory, where we have introduced to you 5 principles and 5 steps to inventory creation. We also talked about that different methods of carbon accounting, and ideally, we prefer greenhouse gas protocol. First, the reason it's voluntary. Second, it doesn't require certification. And third, it is adopted by 95% of Fortune 500 companies. So there is a proof of case already been established towards this goal. Also, this is the same people who have helped developing the ISO standard 14064. So if you cover GHG protocol, 90-80% of ISO 1464 is already covered. The number one. Number two, of course, requires additional GHG protocol as well as in ISO 14064-2, which is for projects, which is decarbonization plan. We cover in 8 days program is already been part of ISO. Then there are other bodies, which is supplier specific emission data providers. They also provide different method. PCAF was another one, which was quite notable, and we have discussed about that. Widely used methods are spend-based, activity-based, and hybrid model. But when it comes to scope emission number 3, there are 3-4 more methods. And in total, there are 35 different methods which people are using, which we discuss in longer discussion. We also learned that how to use scope 1 and 2 and 3, what it means, who emits it, why they emit it, and they have counted as scope 1 or 2 or 3. What was the reason people go behind and talk about it? As well as we looked into those X gases which are critical to understand and report on. We learned that where we will find those gases, We also learn that how to use different data collection method and calculation approach in order to provide a authentic report outside. These are those 15 categories which we have gone through last time, and we have also learned through that there are few purple ones which people are not having a lot of experience in India, specifically where the reporting is not happening on that ground. For example, in scope 2, market-based, you do not report on heat, steam, and cooling because you don't have a market for those. In scope 3, if you look fuel and energy related activity, which actually most of the time energy companies are reporting on, also is not a vehemently used in India. Employee commute data is not available. Processing of sold products means accurate data is not available, and processing of sold product, use of sold product is a difficult endeavor to take. That's why people are not producing these categories under the scope 3. Now, study was asking that how it looks like, what exactly data we collect. So that we are starting from today. So this session we will be covering that. Look, there are different type of data. This is one of the software like Gabi, ESGPro. I have used ESG Breathe ESG, which is our promoted software system. But what we will teach you is completely rudimentary, which will be Excel sheet. So you can use any software and utilize our method of calculation for scope 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's how it works. But you need to know that these kind of prompts will be shown to you whenever you go towards any software. For example, key indicators include key matrices include purchase of renewable energy, purchase of grid energy, high tension wire, low tension wire. So there are different category which you should be reporting. Generally, people think scope 2 means purchase of grid energy. Report it, finish the job. But actually, you are doing wrong if you don't go into different aspect of purchase grid electricity. There is purchase renewable electricity also to be recognized and reported on. And all these parameters are essential to create a credible GHG report. Okay, it's not there just for the purpose of you write 0 and move on. That's what everybody is doing. Actually, that is the biggest mistake right now in software people are making, because you are creating your database, which will be futile tomorrow because you have to rewrite the whole thing. Okay, so be careful about even people who have developed the software, which I know few of them, are not even focusing on certain kind of area. They have put there as a part of the software, but they are not asking you to report on it. You can easily skip those, right? And that becomes a challenging tomorrow. Somebody who wants to really do the audit as an audit trail, they struggle with this kind of data. For example, in HFC side, if you know these gases like PFC 9118, people are not even understanding what exactly it means, right? And it is as easy as that you go and check your fire hydrant and it is written there what kind of gas it is emitting and how much kg it stores. The moment expiry date hits, you have done with it. That's the fugitive emission you have to record. Yeah, such kind of smaller steps people are also not taking, which at least participant of this class you should be start using going forward, right? And then last, once you collect all these data, the data presented in this fashion, where you can locate that what is the emission hotspot in your company or the company which you are working for, right? For example, here I'm writing about corporate client number 4, which is a business unit I have covered in this process, has 40 liters of gas diesel emitted. There are environmental 55 checklists which will be provided to you, need to be used judiciously, and then you have to find out where the hotspot actually lies and then try to apply mitigation strategy. And all that we discuss in 8 days program, which we are going to introduce at the end. Let's have a quick quiz. So you know where you stand in your learning, and then we will go and do the calculation today. So everyone who has not logged in yet on slido.com, please go ahead and do that. You can always scan the QR code on the left, or you can just open in your Chrome browser, slido.com, and put a code 5741651. Let me do that as well myself. So we will all have us on the same page. Once you are in, just say yes, chat box. So I know you are in. Yesterday we had a good crowd. Today it looks like they are sleeping. Okay. Are you in? Put a chat box, yes, if you are in the slide. Okay, I can see a few of you are already in. Dinesh Kumar, welcome. Satish Kumar, yes, welcome. Ravindran, good. Uh, Mahima, yes, welcome, Mahima. Few of you are still trying. If you're facing any issue, just let me know. Okay, so everybody is in. Let's start with question number 1. Question number 1 is in front of you. You have 20 seconds to answer. Whoever answers fast gets the better marks. It's the fastest finger first round, okay? So go ahead, quickly punch in your answer. Which of the following activity falls under scope 1 emission? What do you think? Okay, so most of you have given the correct answer. Let's see, the correct answer is burning diesel in company. Okay, let's go for next question. Which gas is primarily associated with scope 1 emission from the stationary combustion? We have discussed yesterday, right? A stationary combustion. We discussed the second one, which was mobile combustion, and third one was fugitive combustion. So I am talking about right now a stationary combustion. Okay, so I got, oh, wow, that's a very good news. Everybody got it correct. The maximum amount which people emit is carbon dioxide in a stationary combustion. A stationary combustion is all about carbon dioxide emission. Next one, let's take the next question. Which of the following is an example of a scope 2 emission, right? Which of the following is an example of a scope 2 emission? Oh, awesome. Again, everybody got it correct. Which of the mobile gases is not typically associated with scope 1 emission? Which of the following gases is not typically associated with the scope 1? From mobile combustion. So remember, the key word here is mobile combustion. Keyword here is mobile combustion. Okay. Okay. So somebody has missed the keyword here. Never mind. Right. Mobile combustion, always remember, it is from the transport which you own will become scope 1. So the answer will be opposite to that. Okay. That's why it is little twisted question. Are you with me? Is there any confusion here? Right. And what is not there in fossil fuel combustion, which you do in your vehicle, is NF3. NF3 generally comes from the fugitive emission side. Okay. So that is why in a scope 1 mobile combustion, you will not find nitrous trifluoride. You will not find that. Okay. That's the answer. Let's go to next question. Which of the following activity is classified as a scope 1 emission? Is it purchased steam or heating, fugitive emission from refrigerant, emissions from business travel, or emission from employee commuting? Which of the following activity is classified as a scope 1 emission? Okay. We have majority of the people giving the correct answer, which is fugitive emission from refrigerant. Okay. It's a part of a scope 1 emission, right? Others are not part of scope 1 emission because you remember our keyword. Our keyword was three. One was owned. The moment owned, you have a scope 1. When you have purchased, you have indirect emission, which is scope 2, and a scope 3 emission, which is a little farther away, right? The scope 2 emission has purchase plus 4 items, which is electricity, steam, cooling, and heating. So these 4 combination plus purchase is always a scope 2, and rest of them will be always a scope 3. As simple as that. You should never make mistake in scope 1, 2, and 3 if you have attended a study session. I know few of you are starting from today, so I can understand your problem. Whoever has paid, definitely don't worry, you will get your recorded video made available for limited time. So go and watch it. Next question. Did I give you time to answer it? Okay. Okay. So which gas is the most commonly associated with a scope 2 emission from purchased electricity? Now, obviously, here, fossil fuel is generally burned in power plants, which can be coal or gas-fired power plant. And both cases, the emission will be large enough coming out in form of carbon dioxide. Yeah. And when we will go to the properties of all these 7 gases, right? Greenhouse gases, specifically where they come from, what they include, you will be recalling such kind of concept very easily. It will become a piece of cake when you will understand the GWP of these gases. What is the source of these gases in normal circumstances? Are they coming from natural sources? If yes, which process? Is it leaching process, decentrification process? Which process it is coming from? And then you can realize it is a part of a scope 1 or 2 or 3 and what amount I should be recording. Not just by referring log books like DEFRA, but putting your mind as a thought process to record that data correctly. Yeah, and that's how the accuracy comes in GHG accounting rather than just looking into emission factors books and thinking that I have done the justice to it. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is not a scope 1 emission source? Which of the following is not a scope 1 emission source? Okay. Go ahead. Try to answer. Okay. So we have most of you answered correctly. Wonderful. Let's go to next question. Which gas is released during fugitive emission? Which gas is released during fugitive emission? Okay. Again, we have everyone giving the correct answer. Awesome. Next one. Which of the following activity is classified as a scope 2 emission? Which of the following activity is classified as a scope 2 emission? Okay. Looks like everybody got it. This one as well, correct. Let's go to the last question of today, right? On a scope 1 and 2. Which gas is not typically associated with a scope 2 emission? Which gas is not typically associated with scope 2 emissions? Okay, so we have quite a varied answer. Now, anybody has a confusion on this? Why so many different answers we have? Are you confused with this concept?
Can you just re-explain this?
Okay, fair. That's why I asked that if you are confused, I'm happy to answer it. Okay, now what question is asking again is a not question. Not question is literally opposite side of discussion we are doing here. You should not think through scientific point of view only. If you are a scientist, then there is no problem. If you are environmental scientist, you know the answer. But if you are not, think through a commercial person who is looking into sustainability. Now, let's start from the concept. How many gases were there initially? 6, right? 6 gases. Anybody can recite those for me? Unmute yourself and just tell me which are those 6 gases, which is a part of greenhouse gases from.
Carbon dioxide.
Yeah, Ravindran, go ahead. Coming from Kyoto Protocol, I wanted to ask. Okay, go ahead.
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, absolutely. That's the gas number 1. Anybody else who wants to add to Ravindran, the second gas?
Methane.
Sorry, methane, absolutely. Mahima, according to you, which gas after that comes? After methane, carbon dioxide?
Nitrous oxide.
Nitrous oxide, NO3, absolutely correct, Mahima. Anybody else who wants to add the 4th one and 5th one? Amit. Paresh ji, yes, go ahead, Paresh ji.
HFC.
HFCs, right? Hydrofluorocarbons, absolutely correct, Paresh ji. Then anybody wants to add the 5th one? Sorry?
Sulfur.
Yeah, there is a sulfur oxide as well as PFCs, right? These 2 are also there, and that's how 6 were there. Now they have added one more, NF3. Now, NF3, nitrous trifluoride, generally comes from refrigerants or generally comes from refrigerants. Now, what question is asking, you have to understand here. It is saying not typically associated with scope 2 emission. Now, you know, from cooling or refrigeration or even sometimes steaming, nitrous trifluoride will come. Tell me in this case, will it come or will it not come? Absolutely right. Nitrous trifluoride is not typically associated here because it will not come from here. It will coming from the fire hydrants, etc. Right? And which can be part of scope 1 rather than part of scope 2. And that's how you should differentiate. And that is why half knowledge is a bad knowledge. Get the full knowledge sitting in understanding those gases. What are the sources of those gases? How they come out or become fugitive, right? And understand that process completely. Then only you will be able to correctly answer such kind of question. However, most of you have correctly answered, so I'm really happy. And this, a lot of people do answer other methane or carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is obvious reason. Every process has carbon dioxide, right? We have already established a fact that 71.6% of the total greenhouse gas emission comes from the carbon dioxide. So that people generally take it off, right? Methane in cooling is rare, but I don't know why you have, possibly it comes out of coal burning, and that's why people are putting it. And the third one is, of course, nitrous trifluoride. So you need to give little more time on such kind of concept. Okay, let's see who has done how. Okay, so still, I believe it is taking a data from yesterday, and thereby the winner. I have not participated, it says. Okay, good. Okay, let's go to last part of our discussion, which is calculation. We want to do calculation, and we also want to do at least one calculation of a scope 3. One calculation on scope 3. Now, how many of you understand scope 3? Is it clear? Do you want little more inputs on scope 3? Or if you understand, give me one word answer. What is a scope 3 emission? If you understand.
Upstream and downstream of emissions.
In the value chain. Correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Good. Anybody else wants to try? Any other approach you want to take towards a scope 3? Okay, let me understand. Do you understand upstream? Anybody who understand upstream, unmute yourself and talk about it.
The products coming in from outsourcing to factory, the process emission.
Yeah, generally,
Right.
whatever process is there till the gate of your premise.
The company, till the firm's one firm,
Sorry?
till the parent company, gate of the parent company.
I don't know. Your voice is breaking, or is it me only who is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Trouble in
Actually, you have a connection trouble. No worries. So generally, people say, in agriculture there is a F2F, farm to fork concept, right? How many of you have heard about F2F? Anybody who has heard about F2F, farm to fork? In agriculture, we use as a sector.
So basically, the agriculture produce reaching the end consumer.
Correct, absolutely. So from production of the farm goods, which is harvesting, seeding, sapling, whatever, till it reaches to my fork, which is consumer uses. Now, this is the complete value chain, included your production cycle. Clear? Now, tell me what will be here upstream in this agriculture process. What
Farming is
farming could be upstream, right? If you are a processor, if you are a food processor, then farming could be your upstream. Farming, if you are a farmer, then upstream will be seed buying. Monsanto, all these companies who are selling seeds. So you are buying from them, farm and farmers, right? Dehat, all these people are selling seeds. So buying that seed will become your upstream, right? If you are a farmer, if you are a food processor, then farming as well as seed supplier will become your upstream activity. Downstream, tell me for a food processor who is making patties, right? What will be their downstream businesses, or who are oil, producers like Adani, Wilmar? What will be their downstream?
the household consumer.
Household who is consuming or buying it, right? Who is using it for nice pakoras for you in rainy season, right? Or who is using to cook really nice dishes in your house. All that is a scope 3 emission for you, because there is a fire burning happening, right? To cook those delicious pakoras, samosas, fatty stuff, but still people love it. So point here is that is my downstream emission when it happens in somebody else's house, not in my company. Clear? Upstream and downstream. Now let's listen in one company who is reporting such kind of emission. So let's take a case study. The case study is of Unilever. Unilever reports 1, 2, and 3 emissions very clearly. Is still such a large company, right? It's a massive company which has a presence of 100 plus countries all across world, right? They have even a company called Hindustan Unilever in India. Now it has changed to Unilever, but Hindustan Unilever we know from. And they have acquired several companies all across in India, including Nirma's washing powder, back chain, etc. Now, when they started doing their scope 1, 2, and 3 emission, they have faced massive problems as well. So it is not that you and me who is finding it difficult, even at such a large company which can afford me, Prayesh ji, Raja, anyone as a consultant, they can easily afford. Correct, Prayesh ji? Will that make any difference to them? 10 lakh, 20 lakh rupees?
No.
They can take our advisory, but they don't take. Yeah. And now they are reporting, this is 2023 report, which I am citing, and everybody can download and look into it. I am taking word to word verbatim from that sustainability report of Unilever, which says they have changed their baseline. Listen in, they says measuring GHG emission is a significant challenge for them. Such a large company who can have people like us working 24/7 is saying this statement, so we should not take it lightly. Yeah. And when we go to consultant and think he can do the justice, please understand, large company themselves are saying it is a significant challenge. Okay. Why they are saying it? Listen in. on many estimates and information comes from third party. It is not they who are producing it, right? They are relying on the value chain supplier to provide certain data. And that's why they realize this is a significant challenge. In 2023, they changed the method of calculation. Reason was IPCC AR6 has come. IPCC is another emission factor provider as well as process provider under United Nations body. And they have released the new release of AR6, which they have adopted only in 2023. And that is why they are claiming that they have adopted the new measurement system for their largest scope 3 emission categories. Are you getting me? So recently they have adopted for scope 3 calculation. And that is why they are revising their measurement, which applies to the latest guidance. And they have used emission factor under IPCC AR6. So now one thing is clear. Everybody take and note down. This is nugget you are getting free of cost. What is that? That IPCC AR6 internationally people are using for the purpose of a scope 3 emission. Are you clear? But is it a right data, wrong data? That tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 will decide. Okay, that's another learning which we do in 8 days. One day we spend on how to read data from the different bodies. And then they recently published their draft GHG protocol land sector guidance. So they have also used a new protocol which came from GHG protocol. What was that? Land sector guidance. Because if you are aware, LUCF is the third largest emitter in the greenhouse gas emission. LUCF, the land use and change in land use, is now, or forestry, is now used as a major stuff. And a lot of companies are using forestry standards to start reporting on it. Okay. And in India, there is a lot of large colleges, but they are not doing justice because they are producing students who are not even knowing what it means. Right? There is a government of India institution in forestry. Unfortunately, if you talk to those students, you will feel like they are half cooked, half baked, and not even understood the concept for which that organization was created by government of India. And they are investing crores of rupees every year, like IITs and IIM, right? But this particular GHG protocol helps you to understand the differentiation very simply. Okay. And this was again what they did after adopting in 2023. They have retrospectively revised their estimates. Why? Because it is required under GHG protocol convention. And this is most important factor. If somebody does their financial statement, restatement, you know how the stock in the stock market will be treated. And they have done it. Okay. They have done it because they knew there is no other way. And this is the time to make mistake then after 2 years down the line when you are on the gliding path of net zero. They have already committed net zero to 2039. Okay. Where they have now they are forced. This company is, by the way, reporting since 2013 or 11 retrospectively, if you see. So they now change their baseline to 2021 after adoption of emission factor IPCC AR6. The total revised 2021 GIM emission, which they reported earlier, was 121 million tons now, carbon dioxide equivalent. We'll learn that, right? Currency in sustainability is always carbon dioxide equivalent. If you see that word, understand they are talking in terms of currency, which includes 65 million tons of GHG emission related to indirect consumer use, right? The massive amount was from the indirect consumer use for Unilever products. And these emissions typically arise from heating hot water. Understand how deep scope 3 emission goes. Heating of hot water to use alongside with your shampoo. Means when I saw this, I was really puzzled at how deeply a consumer-oriented company does their scope 3 calculation. Right? They are not only counting that bottles which people are throwing in dustbin and going to landfill at the end of use, calculation in category. Rather than that, they are also calculating and reporting of how much of hot water a consumer is using through their heater when they are rinsing their hair and how many minutes they are using it for. Can you understand the depth here? Otherwise, they can't be accurate. Right? And it's a massive greenhouse gas emission if you are using heater in your house. I mean, first of all, I didn't know that people need to use hot water to rinse shampoo. Yeah, that assumption itself was not there in India. But anyway, a lot of people are doing it, and that's why they are reporting on it. So that's kind of reporting happens. So there is one side is calculation, and then you have to build a report which makes that your calculation is credible. It reflects that to your audiences that you are doing a credible reporting.
Also, Vivek, just I want to add, like in West, when they use heavily the washing machine, so they always mention wash it at 30 degree, so that the heating of the washing machine would be reduced. This is also a fact.
Absolutely. And you have to calculate that emission as well. That emission need to be put when we are talking about here shampoo, you are talking about, say, surf. If I'm selling a surf and in washing machine that surf requires heating of the water, then only it will achieve to the real potential, then I need to report about it. Of course, it will be in terms of the electricity itself, because little more electricity is consumed to heat inside the washing machine. But eventually, I need to consider that. You are right, Ravindran. Perfectly. Your thought process is absolutely correct. You have to go to that level of reporting. That is why you see out of 121, 65 was only coming from the use of your product. Are you with me? In scope 3, only one category holds around 50 to 60% of the emission. And that why that is happening? Because people like you are thinking that much deep and reporting about it. Let's listen in other segment of their report, which talks about SBTI, the net zero target achievement processes, right? Where they are reporting that under GHG protocol, again, they are referring to the protocol which we are teaching you on. That's why I'm referring. So you learn this style of writing, that indirect consumer use phase emissions are optional part of company scope 3 emissions. Okay. Here they are saying that GHG protocol doesn't mandates me to report it, but I am still reporting. Are you with me? And if Unilever can do, now you tell Ravi why Reliance should not do.
Yeah, it's a big question.
Got the point?
Yeah.
And that is why if they are getting bad rating, why they are crying about it, why they are approaching people like us even now. Can you come and guide us how to get this reporting corrected? Because they hired Big Four, means it. They are using GRI protocol since 2018. GRI I'm talking about, okay? GRI standards, they are registered unit in India, apart from Wipro, Infosys. Reliance is registered since 2018. So it is not that they have not been guided by right people, but the people who are guiding, still they have some junior level staff who doesn't understand, and they are giving such tasks to them, and who is messing it up, and the client is facing the ire of the same. Yeah, last year they have come to even third tier. We count ourselves a third tier consultant. We do not count ourselves competing with Big Four or even a large company, international large companies. Yeah, they came to third tier understanding the people who have a ERP or EcoVadis rating understanding like Paresh ji. Yeah, they come to these guys when they fail all their resources. Correct, Paresh ji? कोई पहली बार में आता है क्या हम लोगों के पास?
नहीं.
वो तो समझते हैं कि they are the king makers. They can pay and get services, right?
Yeah,
And you do the rating on EcoVadis, and then you tell them that, boss, you have a crappy guy who is not even, doing the justice. Correct or wrong?
correct.
And that's the challenge people do not understand, because juniors are still not capable to execute it because they are not been well trained. They are trained. Even KPMG has a recorded video, which I learned. I told them, send it to us. We will train your guys and send you back. And you won't believe, I have more than 15 people out of 53 people who have graduated with our boot camp coming from Big Four. 15 people. So you can understand, they are paying extra to me and getting learning done, rather than that company sending to us, because they have their snobbish infrastructure, Ravindran. So this is how it works. Be careful that large company, if they are humble, why can't we? Except if I am making a mistake, report it authentically, Ravi or Paresh. आप मानते
Yeah,
I don't know, but report it authentically. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? एक साल खराब report होगा. Next year, तो at least you will try to improvise it. If you don't
correct.
accurately, how will you manage it?
Yeah, the first definition is measure. If you don't measure, then
How I
what
will,
do you
and if I'm
report?
measuring wrong, yeah, or I'm forcing my auditor or accountant to do better, carbon accountant to do better reflection of my company, forcing him. परेश को आप बहुत सारे स्टोरी आपको बताएंगे कि वो फोर्स करते हैं सामने वाले कि मेरे को प्लाटिनम रेटिंग ही चाहिए. करेक्ट और रॉन्ग, हम कर रहे हैं ना कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. एंड नाउ दे आर गोइंग क्रेजी बिकॉज somebody has quoted them, one half of our price. Can you believe, परेश जी? Yeah. So they are right now
Yeah.
lost themselves. कि कैसे मतलब so much price variation is coming, whether I will achieve platinum or not, right? So expectation is here of the company कि मेरे पास कुछ emission होना ही नहीं चाहिए. I should report zero emission. Expectation is that. And then you do a wrong measurement because you are forcing your accountants to report based on your whims and fancy. And then if somebody rates you badly, you don't get the platinum, you cry. Correct?
Yeah.
पर यदि वो स्टोरी बताइए जो आप हमें बता रहे थे कि लोग आते हैं बोलते हैं चाहिए प्लाटिनम और पैसा खर्चे करने के टाइम में 2 रुपया खर्चा नहीं करना चाहते. जो आपने
That
मेरे
is one thing. That is one thing. But the second thing is very interesting. So yesterday, a supplier called me and he said that I want to get recoveries done, but we don't have any documents.
can
You
you
will have to make all the documents and you will have to submit. So
can
I
you
said, how can I do? Because I
Customized
don't know
report.
what is happening at your company. Yeah, Ravi.
you are saying something?
Yeah. So they want everything is ready-made reports.
Yeah,
हाँ,
ready-made, ready-made.
रेडीमेड, और उनको लगता है कॉपी पेस्ट करके दे रहा है तो वैसे लोग उनको मिलते हैं. वही बता रहा हूँ ना, कार्बन अकाउंटेंट इन मार्केट राइट नाउ चार्जिंग 10,000 to 20,000. Okay, for him it is a part-time game. What he is doing, he is taking Unilever report and chipkawing you if you are in the same industry. Exactly, he is doing that.
Correct.
Readers nowadays can clarify whether it is a chat GPT wording or a wording of your own. So forget
Yeah,
about if you are copying and pasting it. Are you with me? और ये
yeah,
expectation, Paresh ji, that supplier must be expecting that from you.
yeah,
कि आप भी कॉपी करो, मेरे को दे दो ना. आप तो बोर्ड पे बैठे हो. विवेक सुमन ESG रेटिंग के बोर्ड पे बैठा हुआ है. दे शुड गिव मी ऑल द कंपनीज, 1,000 कंपनीज रिपोर्ट. व्हाट इज द हार्म? दैट्स द एक्सपेक्टेशन. दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड कि टिल द टाइम परेश जी और विवेक जी अंडरस्टैंड योर ट्रबल, any report will be futile. Yeah. And then
yeah,
these ratings require you authentic data to be produced. And here, even Unilever has accepted it. Yeah. Since 2021, these emissions have reduced from 65 to 53 million tons of carbon dioxide, which they reported in 2023 annual report. And this is how they have reflected their scope 1 and 2 emission and 3 emission. That graph shows you scope 3 emission. Okay, still
yeah,
comes from the raw material, etc., etc. So be careful. Don't go into jugglery. Always select little longer path, learn it properly, and then guide your clients. Okay, you are not saving 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 bucks. Rather, you are investing in a product which will fire back. And when it will fire back, I have already told you, investor will run away from you. Regulator will come penalize you. And look, worst case scenario is always everything happening together. It will never happen one alone stuff to your company or to your client, right? Regulator will
yeah.
penalize you. Your team will leave and run away from you. Okay. So be careful. And I'm not saying to companies, I'm saying even to the consultants who are working with them. They will blacklist you, as simple as that. सो आपने सेविंग नहीं किया है, आपने एक्चुअली एक्सपेंडिचर कर दिया है अपने लाइफ टाइम का. देन यू हैव टू स्टार्ट योर जर्नी वंस अगेन फ्रॉम जीरो. Are you ready to do that, or you are ready to learn something from credible sources? Let's take another 10 questions quickly and then we will go into Excel sheet. Or you want to go into Excel sheet now? I have already approved most of you. So give me in chat box, you want to take 10 more questions clarifying the concept 1, 2, and 3 together, or you want to straight away go and start working on the Excel sheet?
Let's go to Excel sheet.
Okay, one person wants Excel sheet. Other people?
We'll do manually, sir. We'll work it out.
Okay, somebody wants to do here. Satish Kumar wants Excel sheet. Okay, Mahima wants questions first. Okay. Vishwanath wants first. Okay, fair. Okay, let's take 10 questions quickly. We have still 1 hour to go. So we'll cover the Excel sheet. Excel sheet, look, you have to understand the nuances in Excel sheet. I'm telling you from day one, Excel sheet is just a multiplication, which you don't need to do in nowadays. Excel itself will calculate, BI will calculate, software will calculate. What you need to learn is how to use that data judiciously. Okay, so Excel sheet में ऐसा कुछ rocket science में आपको नहीं बता दूंगा. Already established fact है. What you need to learn is वो डेटा कहां से लेना है, कौन सा डेटा लेना है और क्यों लेना है. क्यों is important. Why you should be choosing only that data need to be justified in your report. Okay, so quickly let's do the 10 because a lot of you are saying questions. Half of you actually are saying questions, so let's take my veto and let's do the questions first. Yeah, what are the are you already logged in or you have not been logged in?
Logged in.
Okay, clear. So let's start. First question is in front of you. Okay, so all of you have answered and I believe answer is correct. Okay, done. Let's go next. Which of the following not consider a scope 1 emission? I will not do explanation, so we'll complete it very fast. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah. Seeing this, are you guys seeing this? Now the answers are more accurate. After running that 10 question itself has made a lot of difference that now you are getting confidence that you are answering it correctly. Yeah, at least last 5 question, I'm seeing that development. I'm not discussing so that we can finish it faster because half of the people are asking Excel sheet working. So we will start doing that. But if anywhere you are confused, you can always unmute and ask me and I will stop there and explain. I do not want anybody to left behind. Okay. That's a simple concept ESGPro Master Institute takes. See, most of you are giving the correct answer now. Most of you, right? And that's the impressive development in just 1 hour of today and last 2 hours of yesterday. Okay, I'm giving again a chance to answer it. I think the question has jumped. So try answering once more. Yeah, perfect. All of you got it correct, right? Next one. Correct. All of you got it correct. Second last one.
Access has to be given.
Okay, try this one. If last one didn't work for you. Try this question. Which of the following is not a scope 2 emission? Very good. Let's take the last question. Well done, everyone. Congratulations. Clap for your own self. You really did well this time compared to the last time, right? Now, instead of career growth discussion, which we will do at the end with certification opportunity, if you want to pursue our program, let me go straight to Excel sheet now. Okay. I believe everybody has already got the access to a data set. Once my screen with Excel sheet, Google Sheet is visible, just let me know. Team, please go to the data set now, because data set I will explain quickly and then we will start filling in. What you need to do is look into data set and tell me which data should come here. That's your responsibility. I'm not going to tell you. You need to read the full data set, which access has been provided to all of you. If anybody doesn't have the access, put it in chat box or just unmute yourself. I hope this is the data set which everybody has access. If you don't have access, put it in chat box or ask for it. Mahima is in. I can see Paresh is in already. Okay, Ritu Rana is asking. Let me give her as well. Ritu, we didn't get an introduction of you as well, so it will be a good chance for you to introduce yourself. Let others know about you. I know you because I check everybody's LinkedIn, because nowadays the LinkedIn the right source to look into. And I think we can work somewhere, some point in time together. Ritu, this is your chance. Go ahead.
Hi, Vivek. It's a pleasure to be here. And I've been very curious about ESG and all the environmental reporting tools. So I'm an executive coach, and in future, I wish to work with leaders working in sustainability space. So that's what brings me here. My interest is to understand this space. So happy to be here, and in such a short session, I feel that I'm getting to connect some dots, because I have background in environmental studies. I did my master's in geography.
Oh, nice, very nice. Welcome.
Really nice to go back to 94 and connect the dots of from there, although there are a lot of gaps. But wonderful to be here, and this is a great initiative you've taken. Thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure is mine, and welcome to the program, Ritu.
Thank you.
Great. Great to have people like Ritu, Paresh, Indranil, Ravindran, Raja. Look, we always work with such kind of leaders who really want to do some changes in the market, rather than, of course, we welcome students to gain from basics, learn right, and go and execute correctly. But we also believe that if the tone at the top is correct, automatically whole organization and whole system works very fine. And that's why leaders should first understand it, implement in their career, and so that they develop a system which is acceptable and perfect. Let's start looking into the data set, which has already been provided. Different areas has been provided here. So first, 4 blocks, if you will see, those are for scope 1 emissions. Okay, scope 1 emission from different sites of the operation. For example, by looking into fire extinguisher, tell me which scope emission we are talking about, row number 36. Tell me quickly, unmute yourself or put it in chat box. Fire extinguisher. Once you see that, which kind of emissions we are talking about? Scope 1, 2, 3 first. And then in scope 1, tell me which emission.
CO2,
Sorry. Scope 1 emission, obviously. Coming from? Yes, some people have already written there in the chat box. Okay, somebody has not got access. Okay. Just let me give that. Meanwhile, think through, please. Yes, correct. Absolutely. No, it is a scope 1 emission, first of all, and it is coming from fugitive side of it. Fugitive emissions are those emissions which comes from the fire extinguishers. Always remember that. That's why I have given you row number 36 as a question. Clear? So that much you need to be knowing now. Expectation is, if not, please join in 8 days program and learn it in deep. Okay? Because that is basic assumption. If you don't understand that, then it will be very difficult to answer it. But let's try at least. I will ask you a question today and you try to answer those. Now here is the case study of a company which wants to report on a stationary combustion, right? Can you see my screen now again with a case study? Is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a case study where person wants to report his GHG emission coming out of stationary combustion. Okay. And he wants to know what is that emission factor which they will be using. Clear? Period is very important. As you can see, the data is for 1 year from January 2022 to December 2022. 1 year complete data they have collected. Now, when they have collected the data, they have put it into following category. They have put type of fuel and they have listed those type of fuel which their company has utilized over a period of time. Specifically in this period, January 2022 to December 2022. For example, tell me how much of diesel has been consumed in total. My question is a trick question, so wait for a minute, think through and tell me how much of diesel has been consumed. Total. Take a minute.
28. 19,528.
$18,350.
18,350.
Absolutely correct.
18,350.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Yeah. So that is how you have to think through. Diesel consumed is total, which is 18,350. Correct? That's the number.
Yes, sir.
Now, challenge remains with why this has been separated. First of all, think through, Ashok, why this has been kept separately, right? There must be a reason, right? They have kept it separately. What is that reason they have kept it separately?
DG said may give more.
Absolutely correct. That there is a different type of emission which is happening from DG set and from OVEN.
Yes.
That is why they have kept it separately. And that is where the data collection is also very important. And people make a lot of mistakes in data collection, right? You cannot combine any data, and GHG protocol is very specific on this regard. It says that each emission data from each of the different activities should be recorded separately. You cannot mix it up. Like scope 1, 2, and 3. Again, there is a mistake people does. They say total emission is so much thousands of crores of tons I have done. Right? That is also wrong. You have to tell specifically in scope 1, I have done so much. Scope 2, I have done so much. And scope 3, I have done so much. And that is how mitigation, net zero target, scientific-based target initiative, rating by ESG rating providers, take a notice of it. Yeah, BRSR में तो clearly you have to mention it separately. BRSR, which is Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting Framework of India, introduced by SEBI, ask you separately these three items. Of course, mandatory requirement remains with scope 1 and 2 based on the industry which you operate, but there is no teeth, so people are taking it very lightly. There is no penalty yet government of India has imposed. Right? But if you are under cap and trade mechanism, in 8 days, we learned that on the last day, that how carbon credit can be built on top of your GHG data. Decarbonization plan can be built based on your GHG data. There you require such kind of bifurcation. Clear? So that is clear now. Now, you guys need to tell me all these 5 emission factors looking into the data set which has been provided, and I will be putting on your behalf. And then we will see how much of total emission this company under scope 1 stationary combustion has reported. Right? Let's start with diesel DG set. What's the number I should be taking here?
2.65.
Absolutely. Now, can you see there is another number of diesel? What is that? Diesel for oven.
68, 2.68,
2.6.
68,
Have you
8.
seen there is a difference in emission factor? The reason for this difference in emission factor is that in diesel, which is burned in oven, will emit different kind of gases, which has more potency than the diesel in DG set itself. Now, another trick of trade I will give you. Diesel in DG set can also have 5 different emission factor. And it can change based on the geography where you are using that DG set. If it is an arid environment, humid environment, which kind of environment you are operating, the efficiency of your DG set can fluctuate. Okay. And if it fluctuates, it can provide different emission factor which need to be considered while you are reporting. Yeah. So it is not just going into DEFRA or IPCCAR 6, recording the data, placing in play, and you are done with your deal. You need to justify that in the report like Unilever has produced. Have you seen that? And in 8-day program, I force you to prepare such kind of report. So you learn not only to the record, but also how to cleverly write it. Yesterday evening, we did that discussion, okay, where people have presented 10 people and everybody rates and guide that, look, this is the word you should not have used here, or this word you should have played with, this word you should have carefully written with. Such kind of feedback you get not only from me, with the esteemed people who join that group. Okay, now, third one, LPG kitchen, and it is a specific kitchen. Okay,
1.473,
1.473.
473.
We have, now tell me, crude oil and lubricants.
Crude oil is 2.708 and lubricant is 2.647.
2.2.
Crude oil is 2.708.
Okay.
Lubricant is 2.647.
647. Now, why not anybody ask me a question that there is no crude oil this year and there is no lubricant, then why it exists in this report? Think why this is mentioned, how even though the emission is 0. मतलब नहीं बनता है ना? But it is there. Once you will ask that question, you will realize your own self. It is there, maybe because last year it was reported. Next year it might be reported. My activity do carries crude oil requirement and lubricant, and that is why it has to be there. You cannot delete it in any year. Okay. And this is another mistake Excel based people generally make. If you are using Gabi Pro, Gabi and Sima Pro, you won't be making this mistake because it will ask you and you have to put 0 number there. You have to put there, of course, it takes the emission factor its own. So it will be required to put a number and then justify. And in report, you have to go and write that this year, crude oil and lubricant, we were able to control, right? Because we are doing every 2 years of maintenance. Lubricants are generally required for maintenance, etc. Right? And this is why, don't think I have reduced it completely. That information you need to write to make your stakeholder aware about it. That what kind of action are you taking? Are you removed the requirement of lubricant? Have you become net zero in lubricant? This is the question people are expecting. Is it not that nuances which you should be knowing in your training? Absolutely, yes. If somebody is not training you these points because he has recorded video and selling you, he is doing injustice to you. Okay. Trust me, that should not be done. Of course, if we are working on the mitigation side, we will be also going into required factor analysis, discussion, recommendation, conclusion, and next step. Such kind of report generally people are producing. Let's take one more scope 1 emission, which is fugitive emission. Okay. Now, fugitive emission, again, you see the list is very huge, but you need to tell me emission factors which are essential. Okay. Now, this company wants to focus on unintended release of gases or pollutants from industrial sources, such as refrigerant and fire extinguishers. These two things are recorded here. And that's why the products are R22, R32, R134, and these all are available on the back of your fire extinguisher, right? It is written there, fire extinguisher, ABC powder and CO2 powder is used. Emission factor again is already been provided to you from the data set you have to take. Now, quickly, everyone, go ahead and try looking into that data set and tell me those number R22. And somebody just don't worry, you can write in chat box if you want to practice. Okay, you can also write in chat box. Go ahead. Who is telling?
3 is the
Okay,
emission.
3, right? Next one, R32. Mahima, Ritu, Paresh, Raja, anyone? R30.
Three.
Yes,
Again, 3.
Three.
3. Yeah. So even though it is different kind of gas, the emission factor remained the same. Are you with me? Then of course there are
Yes, sir.
134. Anybody has the number?
Same 3.
Again, same 3.
All of them
All of them are 3.
are fire extinguisher, ABC powder. You have any emission factor for that? ABC powder.
3 is the
Next one, fire extinguisher, CO2.
Three.
3. And the last one, any unintended gas or fire.
that is also 3. Yeah.
Also 3. But the only one which we have emitted this year, I need to account for, and the total number comes out to be 773.2. Now, one more mistake people do, and you remember, is the unit you should always watch for. GHG protocol, GRI, BRSR, everybody wants you in terms of tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. The data which you got is in which term? What's the
kg.
unit of the data?
kg.
kg of CO2 equivalent. So remember to convert it to tons and then only report. Okay. Always watch for the unit. Let's
So
take
0.7.
emission. Let's take now scope 2 emission. Everyone go to this case study and go to data set. Of course, here we are leveraging CEA India emission data. Location is Pune. So I need to be specific because CEA provides location-based data. Yeah. So you have to be very location oriented. You know, right? Every location in India has a different even pricing for electricity. Per unit charges are different all across India. Are you aware about that? Of course, there are some places where it is free, but industrial use is still not free. You have to pay for it. And it ranges from 10 rupees to 21 rupees in certain states and certain jurisdictions. Okay. Similarly, for carbon dioxide, you have a different emission factors reported by CEA India emission factor booklet, right? 2023 July. That's the latest one which is available for people to refer. Now they have also provided that total grid energy is how much? 1.2 million kilowatt hours or gigawatt hour. That is the total consumption this company has done. It's a manufacturing company, so they require such kind of massive, electricity requirement. Now, but from last year to this year, they made some improvement. That's the case study. What is that? They put a rooftop solar installation under Suryodaya Yojana. You know, right? Suryodaya Yojana, rooftop Yojana is already there in play. Modi ji Yojana, which people are getting benefited. Even industrial people can put under different scheme. Now, they have put this 300 kilowatt rooftop solar PV system. Expected annual generation will be 450 kilowatt hour. Tell me, how much percentage of the total grid dependency they have reduced by introducing solar? Just by putting 300 kilowatt rooftop solar. How much dependency on the grid energy they have reduced? Tell me that percentage. Everyone, go ahead, calculate it. You have an Excel sheet. Just calculate. Of course, this is not covered in this 2-day session. We debate on this on the 8-day session, that why such kind of initiatives are important and what actually the difference will come. Correct, Ashok. I don't know, what did you say? Oh, okay, you're not on mute. Okay. Okay, so if you don't know, it's okay. But if you know, just calculate it. What is the percentage you are able to save by introducing rooftop solar only 300 kilowatt? Percentage?
Is 0.025.
No. See, that is why I wanted you to calculate. That is the reason I wanted everybody to give a try. Percentage wise, when you are calculating, you will not take 300, you will take 450,000 kilowatt hour, because unit, always remember unit, it will come handy to you. Mathematics is all about unit. अगर याद हो तो मैं तो बहुत मिस्टेक करता था 10th में यूनिट को लेके. That's why I became first in.
Okay. Got it. Kilowatt hour. Yeah.
ये बचपन में बहुत मिस्टेक मैंने करी है. So I know where mistake generally happen, right? When you make it, you learn it for your life. And so I took a revenge doing the engineering first, and then I did CFA. Yeah, being even proficient in accounting. Now, so what I am doing is I am calculating 450,000 kilowatt hour divided by 1.2 gigawatt hour, which gives me that this initiative itself was able to save 37.5%, 37.50% of the carbon dioxide emission. How I am saying that? Let's do the calculation now. Give me the emission factor of rooftop solar. Give me the emission factor of rooftop solar. छोटी बातें हैं, बहुत सिंपल है. जब आपको मालूम चलेगा आंसर तो यू विल से ओह व्हाट इज दिस, ये तो जोक कर रहे हैं विवेक सर, राइट?
0.
Absolutely, Ravi. 0 is the answer, right? 0 आंसर मतलब इमिशन कितना हो गया? 0, which means 37% is saving now carbon dioxide emission immediately just by introducing one initiative. Second initiative this guy has done is taking REC certificate, renewable energy certificate he is taking, right? Now, which is open access green power. How much will be that percentage? Please calculate. That you should be able to do it. I have already given you trick of the trade. You know everything now, right? Give me that calculation. Correct. Few people started typing. Wonderful. Yeah, very good. %41% they have saved by these RECs.
41.6.
41%.67. Yeah. Rounding off 52%. So altogether, now this year, they were able to control how much of emission? 79.17 to be exact, and 80% nearly in a year they have reduced. Why? Because for that also open access green power. Give me how much will be the emission factor? 0, right? Same like the previous one. This is also green energy. Green energy will always have an emission factor of 0. Guy has gone and taken a certificate against it. So he will now go for carbon credit, which you will be learning anyway, right? That carbon credit factor will give him other advantage, which where we cover the case of Tesla, Apple, Google, how these guys have changed their business model. Very few people know what Tesla does. They will say Tesla does is BV, right? They do an electric vehicle. That is the answer you will get. But once I will discuss with you under sustainability discussion, you will get a complete different picture that this person who Trump says is an alien and an alien is supporting me to conquer the world. I will put tariff on the world, right? Is really a genius. Alien or not alien is a debate which people are doing on the conspiracy theory, where they are also discussing Earth is flat and there is no carbon emission in the world. This is man-made theory, right, Pareshji? We have heard this story every time we go to conferences, right? There is no there is no carbon emission, there is no climate warming, specifically in US currently, right? Naysayers has their say, who comes from the Hitler background, right? Hitler used the word naysayers, right? We will not accept anything my government says. And that's how we came to World War II. Similarly, now we have a person who says that nothing is happening in the world. So alien or not alien, but he's a smart guy. He has created a business model, which we cover in our case study, learning about it, that there are several different models where you can make money. Yeah. And create governments like Trump government, create. Okay. So that's, of course, little political. So we cannot open forum. Okay. Let's go back to the last emission factor. Give me the last emission factor, everyone, quick. Yeah. Tell me the last emission factor. डेटा सेट में मिल रहा है आपको? एंड पे जाइएगा. स्कोप 2 emissions are at the end. Tell me, Raja, आप बताइए. What is that number?
0.822.
Correct, absolutely. 822. That gives me 205 tons of CO2 emission, right? And reduction from location-based emission is 79.17. Then, of course, we discussed a lot of other analysis we do, and then we prepare a report which is effective. That's the scope 2 emission for you guys. Now, let's go for one of those scope 3 emission. And here I am also showcasing to you which emission factor we are using, which book I am using. I have already recommended you IPCC AR6. Kuch kaam na kare to use that if you are working for a multinational. If you are working for a local company, you can use anything. But ideally, DEFRA and EPA people are using. Okay. So let's take this case where purchase of goods sold and services offered is those scope 3 emission category number 1 we are reporting here. Give me for steel, which is cold rolled, emission factor from DEFRA. However, that is not correct. Okay. This is a new news for everyone, but that data is totally outdated. You should not refer to DEFRA.
2.2.
How much?
2.2.
2.2 for cold
Steel.
You are taking it from here. Correct. Absolutely correct. But this data is outdated now. Okay. I'm just letting you know. Okay. Aluminium. Aluminium 120 tons they have utilized. Tell me that emission factor, please.
9.16.
9.16. Again, this data is not valid in India. Rubber component. Rubber component. Refer the EPA data. Tell me the emission factor.
0.56.
0.56. So total is tons. Are you seeing that? Massive amount comes from scope 3. Have you seen the proof of concept now? Massive amount comes from scope 3. We are talking about 1 million tons of carbon emission is coming only by one of those activity which we have recorded. This is why scope 3 is different, and people say 90%, specifically if it is a manufacturing company, will be coming from their scope 3 carbon footprinting. Okay, and that's why it is essential you should start doing ASAP rather than waiting for your suppliers, regulator, international players, CBAM to come into effect and teach you that you have done mistake in last 3 years. Start doing it now. So even though you make mistake, you can join our program and learn from those mistakes. Okay, and we will guide you that you do not make that mistake again. With that, let's not do any calculations. We will quickly go through. So whoever is interested to joining the programs and making a career in GHG, for them, I'm going to run once more. I don't know why it is not open. Okay. Once more, the career pathways. So a lot of people have made their career in this area, and we will be discussing the same. That if you want to make a career and want to earn up to 40 lakh rupees in a year, right? You can easily do by taking such kind of part-time assignments, full-time job, or even taking as a freelance assignment. All routes are open to carbon accounting because this is a motor skill. This is required on each and every part of the world, and every company needs it on annual basis. एक बार आपने रिपोर्ट कर दिया तो it is like drug. You have to do it every year. You can't leave it. Without this, your report will be never completed. Okay, and that's why this drug everybody wants to learn and get specialized in. Yeah. So without carbon accounting, and trust me, without carbon accounting, all other part is literally you are half baked, because this is a major motor skill. Without understanding that ABC, you have not learned anything. And that too, with right sources, you should be learning, not from everywhere and anywhere. Why? There is a question you should ask me, why I should pay attention. Because now climate change, ESG and sustainability is the only way forward going. Yeah. Like AI, still there are naysayers in the market. Even though in 2023, in March, once generative AI was launched, normal students to CXO of a company has been impacted, and they are learning it. Still, there will be some people who will say that AI is useless. You should not learn it. However, in sustainability, still that moment has not come. Trust me, still that moment has not come where people have tested it in their common life use case, right? Still, we are only learning through cases like Enron, where financial culprits has been caught. Yeah, the governance issue has been raised. Bhopal gas tragedy, where environment and social impact people have seen. Yeah, or BP oil crisis, Exxon Mobil crisis in Gulf of Mexico, right, where Alaska coastal region was affected. All that case studies have still not brought that moment where human being, Homo sapien, really grow little faster and in an area which we are known for. We always have that flight or fight capabilities throughout our life, right? That has come from millions of years of our mind training. A very nice book, if you want to read Noah Harari, Homo Sapiens, if you haven't, and he has 3 volumes to it. Okay, all 3 volumes are very interesting, right? One covers from our generational of growth, and one covers about the digital growth, right? And the third one they have recently launched as well. So I recommend that book if you really want to learn that what capabilities a human being hold, right? We are the only creature which adopts. If you adopt to generative AI, ML, and sustainability, you will be that species which will go forward. Otherwise, your career and yourself in next 5 years, you will see it is getting another dip. Okay, and this is the area where first mover will get maximum. The early bird will get the worm which it requires, right? It's a title. OI title. I didn't get the. Achha, your book title you are saying. Correct, Raja? You are asking for the book title.
Yes.
Okay, I will for sure. Don't worry. So these are the crises which we have still not created a moment where people will realize that there is no way forward without being sustainable India as a culture, we have that. That's why our per capita carbon emission is still remains lowest in world. We are in top 5, right? America is producing, say, 20 billion tons of carbon dioxide. China is doing 13 billion tons of carbon dioxide. India is also doing 4 billion tons of carbon dioxide. But per capita basis, we are the lowest in world. And why is that? Because culturally, we always worship in different format Bhagwan, right? We always say God, Bhagwan. Bhagwan ka 5 words, if you see, exactly 5 tattvas which we worship in the nature, right? Bha for apna bhugol or bhumi, which we worship. We worship earth, we worship fire, we worship, that all 5 tattvas, right? So that is why our cultural is always supportive in nature, and that's why till today our emission remains lower. Kitna bhi we are following Western culture, their lifestyle, still we are sustainably conscious. And that is why we are still better off. Okay. But that doesn't mean that we should not learn as a skill. We should definitely learn. Why? Because currently there is a fierce requirement and competition for ESG certified talent. People are not finding that talent. That's why they are coming to consultant. Okay, this is one of the study done by CFA Institute, which has established that the skill people with on the LinkedIn with the profile having a ESG skill listed compared to the ESG list requirement side where the job descriptions are put has a difference of 9 times. So every 1 million job posting, there are only 900,000 job applicants are there with that skill. So still there is a difference of 9 times. Okay. So 0.7% is with the people are with the skill, and overall 6% of the job posting is asking for it. Clear? Second reasoning why people are pursuing this skill is that ESG certified professionals are getting higher pay cycle. If you read yesterday Economic Times, they have talked about the surveys which they have conducted on AI/ML. So the software crowd who is learning AI/ML is getting 40% extra than the market. Similarly, if you go and check even for the fresher, right, they are not getting anything less than 9 to 12 lakh in the market, and given by several companies, including Crisil, which is very conservative. Okay, then there is a sociometric startups which are paying 24 lakhs to 36 lakh. And that is why I say that gaining such kind of skill can make you a potential bidder for 40 lakhs worth of salary package, which you can target in next 5 years. Why? Because another third factor which come into play, there is a new department and a head which has been created in most of the company which is large. Right? And Indians, you will see a lot of faces are Indian on that picture, which is in front of you. Most of the Indians are controlling that position currently because there's a skill they are learning and going and heading those department. That department is called Chief Sustainability Department. Position is called Chief Sustainability Department, Chief Impact Officer, right? These are the position which has been created. Why I say this position will make a lot of changes? Why? First, of course, you have a top position available in a company, right? So people aspire to reach that position, CXO, CFO. Why an accountant wants to become CFO? Because that's the major gameplay. In my later years, I want to do that. And hence, you create a department around it. For example, if you are aware in 1980s, hardly we have seen companies which has chief technological officer or chief technology officer. That position was never existed at that point in time. Specifically, India to tha hi nahi. Chief technology officer was not there. Now you tell me one company specifically who is working with technology of any kind doesn't have this department or a position. That company has no position. If he doesn't have a technology officer, he cannot even get listed. Okay, so now that is a KMP position, and similarly now that change is coming into ESG as well. And of course, there are several other facts and figures which people are aware about. 400% growth in India in this sector. 30,000 at any point in time. Freshers are required. Forget about experienced ones, right? If you have 5 years, 10 years of experience in your normal career and you carry a ESG certificate, immediately you will be applicable and acceptable on those positions. And the reason is investors are growing and they want companies to be sustainable. They are putting a lot of money towards it. And there are several companies now which has created such department. Mostly following 4 buckets they are coming from. And our candidates are from these companies. Regulators and rating providers, a lot of them got educated with us. Consultancy companies, they are working with us as alumni. BFSI, all banking institutions requires a sustainable officer, ESG qualified officer, and even the corporates. Yeah, let's listen in people who comes from CSR background, who has no background into this segment, has made a transition from being a NGO to going to University of Toronto Foundation in India. Yeah,